Seem to spend a lot of time checking out other dudes' bodies. That's what it sounds like to me, Mikey.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, just crazy. It is crazy.
Mike is going everywhere.
Yeah,
huh?
brother.
Joe's got no clue what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah, he's got zero clue.
Is this Trailer Park Boys or something?
Yes, let's go with that. Let's go with that. Actually, that might be the clip for the episode. I might throw that right at the
He
beginning.
kind of does look like Bubbles. Hello and welcome to Talkin Athletics with MTJ. I'm your host, Mike Papa, joined as always by my co-host. It's kind of weird I always say joined as always because I'm always joined by you guys. But you guys seem to very often not be joined by me. But today we're all three are here.
Let's go.
So we're going to get things right underway. We're just a few guys that love to talk about and watch sports. Not always are we right, although we claim to often be. If you claim to know more than us, get in the chat, get in the comments, let us know what you think and how wrong we are. And if you can prove us wrong, that's even better. I love to be proven wrong because that means I know something even more. You know? Talk about how she goes. But we'll get right into things today on a beautiful Sunday evening. And I'll send it over to Joe because Joe's got something he wants to talk about.
Yeah, it seems every few years, we seem to get like a dominant, and it's not just college basketball, but like a dominant college football team or just any collegiate school all suddenly. And you start to hear the bird saying like, oh, this college team could be better than the worst pro team of that sport. So with that being said, UConn has been absolutely dominating the NCAA March Madness tournament. They're in the championship game going against Purdue. But however, all week long, I started to see on Twitter as well as on ESPN where people are having some hot takes saying or kind of debating whether or not that the UConn Huskies could defeat either like the Detroit Pistons or the Washington Wizards in the NBA. And I just kind of wanted to get some of your guys' thoughts if you think it would be a close game or if this is just, again, because it seems to happen every single year and just every single year is it kind of just total nonsense.
How many seniors do they have? Is there a lot of seniors? I'd imagine there is.
I don't know off the
Look
top
at
of my
their
head.
roster real quick. Because if there's a ton of seniors, I think there's a little bit more of an argument for yes than there is no.
I'm going to say no.
And I got a big reason of why.
I'll get into my no and I'll let you do the research.
You do the research. So Tom, I'm engaged. Yeah.
My no, and I'm going to say no on just an even bigger level is because, like you said at the beginning of this, it seems like this conversation always comes up. And the last time that I can remember it actually being a somewhat reasonable conversation was the Alabama against, what was it, the Browns when they were terrible or whoever the worst team in the league was at that point in time.
Yeah, the Browns were like, 1-15 or something or 2-14.
And I think most of us, myself, I know I fell on the side of no way. No shot. And I will take it to a step further in basketball.
Right.
Where you might see 6 first-round draft picks from this year's draft make an impact in next year's NBA season.
Right.
And you're talking about 5 guys from one team, right? Like
exactly.
Going against the NBA. So that's where I'd like to say no, but then I feel like basketball is one of those sports where it's a system game.
Right.
I know,
and,
right?
And that's where, do I think Hurley could coach him up to maybe have a system to fight in a game?
And it's just one game.
One game? Maybe. And anything can happen in one game.
One game.
Right?
Definitely not best of 7.
Oakland beat Kentucky. Anything can happen one game, right? And that's
right.
the beauty of basketball and half of it. But and that's I'm still going to lean towards no.
Yeah.
Give them in a series? Hell no.
Right.
And a 3-game series even, not a shot.
Yeah, because that's the thing. People got to also remember that the person on the very end of an NBA bench was still, at worst, like the second best player on their collegiate college team.
And this team lost. This team's not an undefeated team.
Right. They did lose.
This team has lost 2 college teams.
Right.
I don't think they could.
Is it really impressive when you are up 30?
Yeah,
in the first
tournament?
4 rounds of the NCAA tournament? Yeah. It's crazy.
They only got 2 starting seniors. And
right.
I was going to say, if they had a lot of starting seniors, I might have been swayed because up until you asked the question just now, every single time I've heard that before, I've been like, absolutely not. There's no way that a college team could beat an NBA team. But then I kind of like, right as you asked the question, the 2003 Olympic team kind of popped into my head randomly.
Right.
And I was like, ooh, those guys were way better than those Spaniards were. But they lost, and they came in bronze.
Is it bad? That's what I was thinking about,
know.
too. Have you been seeing clips on it or on some online? Like, because I've been seeing clips of that. Kobe running through Powell.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the year?
Yeah.
Is that a few years
yeah, that
after?
was the same. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I saw TikToks of that this weekend, so I was thinking of that when I was thinking of systems and said all of that.
I love their relationship. Gonna bring it off real quick, but their and Pow's relationship, I love it because when Pow talks about that, he's like, "I knew why he did it." Like he wasn't mad. He was like, "I totally get it." And everybody else on like the USA team was like, "Whoa, man, did you see that?" And Pow just like got up. He's like, "I get it." Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think that was around like what was it, the 2010 Olympics or something?
Oh, you
like,
know what? That might have been the Redeem team.
Yeah,
wasn't
I think
it?
exactly.
it was. I think it
'cause
was.
He was a
I
part
think
of
it
the
was the
Redeem
one.
team.
Yeah, it was the
exactly.
one
And
after.
that
Because Powell was in the league at
after
that
Yeah, it
the
was.
point.
2004
It was
when
the
we
year
came
after.
in bronze.
The year
Right.
after.
Well, 4
And that
years
was the
after.
year the Lakers won the finals too. So
Yeah,
if
wow,
I remember
thanks.
correctly.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So him and Pow were
That was
tight.
when Kobe was running stuff for Team
Yeah.
USA. That was with LeBron and everybody
I don't
else.
know.
Carmelo,
Melo
yeah.
Melo was different.
I know.
U.S. Mello.
Yeah, U.S. Melo is different.
Chef kiss.
Agreed, but that Kobe was the leader of the Redeem team. Like that was Kobe. Kobe grinded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got them all in the gym. Like that was
Yeah.
where a lot of
Yeah.
them,
At
a lot
5
of them,
a.m. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of them talk about that Olympic and how much it turned their work ethic around spending that time with Kobe, which is wild. Anyways, back on topic though.
No.
So I would have said if
Back on
they
topic,
had
no.
yeah, no. If they had 5 seniors as starters, I'd be like, man, we got an argument here because
Right.
that's 4 years of playing together and
Having good chemistry.
yeah, and they've proven that they can do it at the collegiate level.
But then, like you said, though, you also like get into depth, though. 'Cause
Yeah.
again, like you
Well-
said, the very last person on the NBA bench was still, at worst, the second best player
Yeah,
on a college team.
That's very true. I was gonna say that. Like,
It's just such a
you
different
could argue
world.
every Pistons player is better than every single player on the UConn Huskies,
Right.
And it
Which
would
is
be completely
crazy to
valid.
think.
Yeah.
It's just such a different world. The two, where think about it, the national championship game. A large portion of it is going to be featuring a guy who
Is in the post.
I don't think is ever going to step foot on an NBA court.
Yeah, that's
Zach
yeah.
Edey. Zach Edey is the biggest problem for UConn to figure out, and he's not an NBA, and he's not going to be an NBA player.
Well, you say that. He's actually projected to go 30th overall.
I mean, Taco Fall also,
Yeah.
he'll be a Taco Fall. He will hang around the league, and if he can be a likable guy, they'll keep him around the organization for even longer than he deserves to be there. But at the end of the day, is he going to be an impact player in the NBA? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. He doesn't have and I shouldn't say that because he is still learning the game. But that's where it's just such a different world, the college world, where this guy can take you to a championship.
Versus
To
the pro world. Yeah.
this guy might not see 2 minutes for
Well,
an NBA team. All
Plus,
he
there's
sees
different
is-
rules. You got to think about that. You also, I don't want to get into
True.
it too much, but then all of a sudden it's like, are you using the
can't
3-point
Well, you would
line?
just play the college rules. You'd have to.
Oh my goodness! In the NBA, I think would absolutely.
You'd have to.
Because
Just
just like in
do
the
you
Olympics,
give
the 3-point line's
three- yeah,
closer. Oh
3-point
my
line,
goodness!
yeah.
I feel like you'd have to because the argument would be, okay, what are we going to do here? How are we going to do this? Well, every single NBA player has played college ball. Not every college ball player
What I
has
think
played
they
NBA.
would do is what they do.
You know what I mean? So at least like, I feel like that'd be the fairest.
I think what they would do is they would let the college players shoot from the threes and have the NBA players shoot from the NBA range because obviously in
I'll still
college
pick the NBA
basketball you
players.
sometimes see like,
I
oh,
don't
there's
know
the
if they-
college women's
yeah.
line and there's the men. So there
I
is a
can see
standard.
that.
That'd be
Two
tough
lines.
for
It'd
a
be
ref
very
though,
tough.
because like you're gonna have to remember like
Give
there's
me NBA court where we can change it per half.
yeah, yeah.
First half, we'll get.
Or we could just use that one they had in the
switch it.
tournament. In the
Yeah,
men's.
women's tournament.
Yeah.
That's freaking ridiculous. We talked about that, right? Oh my god.
Yeah, I think you guys did.
I hope we did. 'cause
I don't
that's
remember.
Just atrocious.
But yeah, crap. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something, and it had value too. It had some substance with it. Oh well, I don't remember.
Okay.
But
Do they have to do the differing of the rules of NBA and NCAA, the 3-point line?
kind of. It was like I had a
I
thought
was
from
trying
what we
to
were
get
talking
you
about
back
before
Chemistry.
that. Team chemistry. No, I
5
lost
seniors.
it. I lost it forever, guys.
Okay. Into the void.
Into the void. It might pop back in like 20 minutes, so if it does,
Well,
I'll come
circle
forth
back.
with it. Yeah.
So we're all in agreement that Pistons or the Wizards would probably more than likely beat.
Oh, I remembered.
There we go.
Okay, JJ Redick and LeBron talked about on their podcast how they both hate watching college basketball because of how frustrating it is that college hasn't advanced.
Did
like
they
the
say it was
NBA has.
slow? I heard another NBA player say that it was slow.
I mean,
it's too slow for them to watch, and that bugged me.
In comparison, you can argue it's incredibly slow. That's why I don't like college.
Really?
I don't like college because it's way too slow. I gotta watch.
What do we mean by slow? Like
I gotta
the pace.
I gotta
pace
see
is
a guy
slow.
post up in the paint for 15 seconds, and then either before or after that, I have to watch the ball swing around the
ball
3-point
movement,
line for
ball
15
movement
seconds.
wise, maybe. I would say I could see. Walking the ball up the court is the NBA slowing the game, where I feel like it is just so much slower in terms of walking the ball up the court. You see so many more teams run in college basketball and transition basketball.
Yeah, but I think
and that comes from turnover and that lack of IQ that they're talking about with the transition basketball a lot of times.
I think the possessions are so much faster, though. Like, per possession, I think the NBA is so much faster that like, extra 3 seconds it might take to bring the ball up, I think is negated just by the possession itself. Plus, the shot clock's shorter in the NBA, right?
Yes.
Isn't college 35?
24 to 30.
24 to 30, yeah.
So I think that would
6
affect
seconds,
it too.
but that's what I'm saying.
Like,
I'm saying the 6 seconds is negated because the NBA players walk up the court. They could have that extra 6 seconds to, function in an offense where
no matter how slow you're moving, you're still using the same shot clock. It's still gonna be shorter.
With I see you're saying that there is a big difference there. I'm saying it's an even bigger difference because they don't value the time on the shot clock in the NBA as they do in college, where I feel like it's, hey, we're going to give our big man the whole 7 seconds to back this guy down. In the NBA, they don't give him the time for the 7 seconds, and you could if you ran the ball up the court. So that's where I'm like, I'd rather watch a big man work, try to get to the bucket for a longer period of time than, all right, guys, let's go. We're going to run this one. Let's do the motion. Let's get it going. All right, start the play. And that's how I see NBA, where I get the value of that, and that's where I'm just a casual watcher that doesn't understand.
Think anybody can pop off for a basket at any point. I think in college they can't.
Right.
Like, even though they're moving slower, like, they just score so much faster that.
Agree, and that's
where
plus
when
I
they're
would say
shooting
the
threes
skill,
now, like
the
with
skill,
Steph and KD type of vibes.
The skill margin and finding mismatches in college, I would say, is probably easier to the point where it's like, hey, I'm just going to give it to this guy, and
'cause that's a big
he's
mismatch.
better than this guy.
He's better than everybody else here, so I'm just going to let him do his thing.
Offense.
Yeah, there's
you don't get to do
would
that
not
in the
be a
NBA.
mismatch
I understand that. So, and that's where I
But
get
it's
the
awesome
motions
when
have
they
their
do,
play.
though. When you see an NBA player do that, you're like, I'm so happy I got to watch that because it's so much fun. But
And that's why I like watching college, because it's so much fun to watch that guy prove that he is 10 times better than this guy. Possession
That is
after
fair.
possession
And that's kinda-
after possession, baby.
And, like, obviously the NBA.
That's entertaining.
The point is obviously to prove you're better, but in college, like, that is the point, is to prove. Like, if you don't
You're
win
still
it,
trying to get to the NBA.
Yeah, you are
Every
proving
minute you
you're
were on
better.
that court, you were trying to prove that you are an NBA caliber player. NBA players, we can pull up an NBA game, and I can probably point out more times than not that I feel like it feels like a soccer game for half of those guys.
In the playoffs, it never
where the
does,
ball, agreed, playoffs, no. Regular season game, when offenses are playing a two-man game a lot of times, like the Nuggets are a great example of this. The Nuggets are entertaining to watch. But when Jokic is playing a two-man with Murray, everybody else on the court doesn't exist, and they know they don't exist.
Oh, yeah.
They're just chilling. Leave me off to the side, drag my guy out of the way. I'm hanging out here doing my job.
That's why they work.
Soccer. I'm just chilling. I've got my guy. I'm keeping the spread. I'm keeping my distance. I'm doing my job. The ball's way the hell over there, hanging out. Like, that's my comparison of that. Was what I was trying to make. Because I know it kind of sounded outlandish when I said it.
No, I knew what you meant. But they do such a good job at it, though, because those guys know
works.
that they're like, all right, I'm going to
is.
sit here until I'm either open or I can run to the basket as fast as I can.
Eventually, they will lead me to figure out how to stop that, and I'll have an open shot.
And that's what happens, yeah.
Or you communicate like, hey, you want to come over here and set me a screen? We'll just do side action over here that is irrelevant, does not matter.
In college, I just feel like there's none of that, hey, I'm just going to stand in here and chill. It's more like I'm going to try to do way too much while I'm standing here and chilling.
All it is.
And I like it. I like it.
I think that's all it is.
Everybody's trying.
There's no like movement. There's like very little movement on the offense in the college game, and that's why I get bored. I feel like I'm sitting there watching five guys. 3 of them are going to be on the 3-point line. They're going to keep passing it in between, and then eventually they're going to give it to a guy in the paint, and he's going to try to work his guy and then toss it up. But none of them really move the areas they're in, it feels like.
Yeah, no, there's not a whole lot of movement in the college game. That's what I was thinking. What you're saying with,
that's what bothers me.
I get what there's no. I'm with you now. I understand because I was thinking of movement. I was like, I was just saying it's the two-man game is more of the NBA style, and like those guys don't really do a whole lot of movement. the unneeded movement is more in
That's
college, where it's like the NBA guys know, hey, I'm chilling here, we're hanging out, and we're just gonna, like Pat Bev. I was having a conversation with John Morant's dad.
You were?
On during the game.
You were?
No, Pat Bev.
No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, no, it was, and it was he was involved in the play, so I can't even say it was one of those moments. But it was just like, yeah, in what world would you see a college guy that's trying to make an NBA draft pick select, trying to boost his draft stock, talking, shooting the shit with somebody's
that
dad.
doesn't really bother me, though.
No, it doesn't, especially because Pat Bev, and I love Pat Bev.
That's true. It's hard to hate that
And
guy.
the chirp that he got him back with was, "You're a great father." That was after that was the story, was that John Morant's dad was going at Pat all game, and he was, "I love you. You know what? You're a great father." And, "Oh, I get you. You're gonna kill him with kindness. I see what you did there." And that was the end of it. He didn't chirp him anymore, so it worked.
See, I love that. He did that to KD, too. Like, he fouled KD harshly one time, and his mom, like, started yelling at him, and he was like, "I love you." And she's like, "I love you, too." And that was
Dude,
it.
it's genius.
Yeah. And it's like, you can't lose that because, one, you're either the nice guy and they ignore you, or two, they say they, like, love you or appreciate you back, and then now their son, who's on the court, knows that just happened. Like, now you have such a psychological advantage on him, too. Like, oh, man. Kill him with kindness.
So was that where you were going with your when you brought up LeBron? I know I kind of hijacked that from you there because it just I had the ADHD thought.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
tucked
well-
away in the files there.
Well, he more like they talked about like the style of college and how like it's still.
But the comparison of the
Well,
two is where we were heading down with.
I
that
don't
one?
remember where I was heading, but what they were talking about was like the college still uses the block, which is like it just destroys spacing, and so like they hate that colleges haven't advanced the game into the point like then they mentioned also how they felt bad for college players because you are playing a completely different game when you get to that next level. That's why we see a lot of the guys wash out because they could excel in how college plays because they played it in high school and college, and now they're playing such a vastly different game. I don't remember where I was going with it though when I brought it up though.
A lot of those guys probably will go overseas to Europe and have successful careers because in Europe, I think they still utilize the block a little bit.
Yeah, and they utilize teamwork too, which you can get away with not being as good.
Yeah, that's where it's weird. We had a lot of guys from my college end up going overseas, and it's you see clips of it, and it looks like a whole different, but like spacing is so big in that game, but
their passing.
It's like they like a big, but they like a mobile big. They really like the stretch, but not using them for a 3-point stretch, kind of almost. It's a weird format.
Well, I mean, they're like a Jokic, a Giannis. I mean, big guys. That
Yeah,
can
it's
move
just
the ball.
it's being a playmaker at the big spot is kind of needed. I feel like that format.
I feel like I totally agree with you. There's more stress than ever on the center position now because you're asked to do everything that a center used to do, but then you're asked to do what your guards and power forwards around you do as well. You know what I mean? Like fives now, like if you look at the best fives in the league, like they guard the 3 through the 5, or on offense they're not just being a 5. Like people like Jokic are, being ball handlers, spacing the floor, and then Giannis can just do anything but shoot a 3-pointer.
Yep.
And then Joel Embiid can do everything and shoot a 3-pointer. So, like, a lot of these, there's so much demand right now. And it's kind of weird because, like, 5 or 6 years ago, it was all the bigs are phasing out, the bigs are phasing out. And in the defense, we've seen teams be successful in the last 10 years without a center, like teams like the Warriors or the teams like the Heat. You can even argue Boston. I mean, they had, Perk, right?
Yeah, Perkins.
But, like, still, like, what did he do after that? Not a lot.
No.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's not a lot, and the 5 has kind of been phased out, but now it's been replaced with a hybrid. Like, you have to be able to do everything.
Right.
Sorry, I kind of got off.
Oh no, it's just I giggled when you made me think of Kendrick Perkins. Worst thing for him ever was getting famous from the NBA. Just gave him a platform to say outlandish things on ESPN after his career.
He's all over 2K also. But next to the next one, if you want to take her away, Joe.
Let's see. Well, speaking of UConn, Iowa went and defeated UConn on the women's side of things, and then Iowa went on to play University of South Carolina today.
Before we get into the championship game, can we
Right.
talk about the offensive foul
Sure.
against UConn? Because that was a very hot topic
Right.
on social media. We haven't talked about it at all. So what did you guys think about the call? Was it the right call? Was it the wrong call?
I mean,
what do you think?
I'm not the guy. I'm not the basketball guy for this conversation, but
Imagine
because I get it.
imagine a holding call on a touchdown from the 5-yard line with 5 seconds left.
It goes into the unwritten rules of the sport. If an umpire gives me a makeup call, you're not getting the makeup like strike call in the baseball world in a 3-2 count in the World Series. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a tough position to be in because like I've seen clips of referees trying to explain the flow of the game and not wanting to disrupt the flow of the game with an and one call that's just a ticky-tack call.
Right.
But if it misses, then you've got to call it, and that's the reason you see a lot of the super late whistles when the
where they
ball
wait
hangs
to
on
see
the
if it went
rim
in
for
or not,
forever.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, now you're disrupting the flow of the game with that whistle.
That's a good point.
But looking back at the foul, watching it on replay, I think if there's one thing or two things wrong with the screen, I think you get away with it. But me as a non-basketball fan, I can go back and look at it and tell you her feet,
She covered like half a foot.
her feet were wider than some NBA screens
While
that I've seen
moving,
get.
too.
Yeah.
She moved while she was doing it and then flared her arms out as she did it as well. That's three things that I know you can't do while setting a screen. Did it affect Paige getting open? Absolutely not. Paige was going to be open. They already switched. They were going to switch. If anything, it was going to leave UConn wide open for a bucket down the middle. So that's where I feel like you almost have to call it. Because if Paige sees that, if they say they don't
'cause
call it,
she's
right?
rolling, yeah.
She's going to roll to the She's going to roll to the bucket. They're arguably their second best player. If she's not second, they're third. She's going to be rolling to the bucket wide open.
Right.
Yeah.
For a spot in the national championship. That player sold it, and I don't know if flop is the right word, because there was clear arm, elbow extension. Like
Went to the ground,
It's
yeah.
a hockey penalty. That's 2 minutes for elbowing in the box if it's done on the rink.
True. And
So
if
that's
it's done
where
on the
I
rink, it
feel
should be
like-
called in every other sport.
But I feel like you can make that. I'm willing to hear out arguments. Not going to die on that hill. That hey, that needs to be called. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it would have affected if Paige makes the shot. But I feel like it's
would
the
have
same.
effective.
So that's right.
pass.
Is it fair to say that it's the same world
So is it a
for a
good
referee?
call or bad call? Black and white.
I think it was a good call.
Okay,
With the
fair.
three things that you can point out wrong with the screen, I think it's a
Yep.
good call.
But you would have understood if they let it go?
If you can guarantee that Paige is going to shoot and they're not going to pass to the wide open screen, that's where I would compare it to the flow of the game with the ball on the rim. If you could let it play out to the point where Paige has the ball in her hands, and if she shoots, we're going to let it play. But as
if
soon
she
as she
makes
makes
that
that pass, then we call the whistle and have it be a super
getting
late
such a
foul, and
gray
it would have been
area.
egregious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the spot where a referee can't let it get to that point. That's where it's just, I feel so bad for the official.
Yeah.
I feel
Right.
terrible for them because there was no right answer, in my opinion.
What did you think?
By the rules, it's a correct call.
Man.
However,
Oh.
I will say
I was about to give
though,
everybody
because
high fives.
I hate social media and stuff, because then of course throughout the game they show like some moving screens that Iowa did for Clark to get open to shoot threes. So then, just to kind of continue to always hammer down what we've always talked about being consistent, I'm gonna say like, hey, if Caitlin Clark is getting away with it and running all over the place and coming off these moving screens, kind of gotta let them get away with it. But
Valid
by
argument.
the book, that was a correct call, and I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden, ESPN's kind of saying, hey, look out for this moving screen, because, our viewership, if Caitlin Clark makes the national championship, would be a lot higher than if UConn, because I don't know about
Would
you
it, though?
guys. I wouldn't
I
have
feel like-
watched, to be honest with you. because I'm growing up, I've always just heard UConn in the national championship. I feel like people like me, who's just kind of like a fair weather women's fan, where it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, UConn's in the national championship again, cool. Versus like, oh, Caitlin Clark and getting all this media attention. I was like I said, I watched the national championship today. I watched the fourth quarter today. I would, if it was UConn and Southern Carolina, I wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah, I think you made a lot of great points. But I gotta still stick to I think it was the right call, whether you're 5 seconds into a game or whether there's 5 seconds left, a foul's a foul. I'm also never been really huge on the makeup calls. Like, I've never really been a huge fan of the concept, but I also completely understand anybody who does like it. It's a valid point, but just not for me. But I will say though about Caitlin in general, to kind of progress onto her a little bit. We on Monday night, like during that UConn and Iowa State game, or Iowa game, we were at a bar watching our friend's band, and we had the game out. Like, I was sitting there and I was like, I never would have thought that I would be watching a women's college basketball game.
And Iowa.
I'm sorry, Iowa and LSU. Sorry,
that was more just because I thought there might be a brawl with the beef going on.
Yeah,
between
there was a
those
lot of
teams,
beef.
You know,
but honestly, I just thought it was really cool to be a part of and be like, wow, we're sitting here watching a women's college basketball game. I never would have thought that I would be out somewhere doing something social with friends and then be distracted
and having
by
three
it.
people huddled around a table.
And enjoying being distracted by it too. Yeah, it was really fun to watch. But yeah. So anyways, go on to the championship game now. Sorry to kind of get in there.
Oh, no, not a problem. I'm glad we got to talk about it. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a Cinderella, story or a good book ending for Caitlin Clark. Congratulations to South Carolina today. They had the perfect season. They went undefeated. Unfortunately for them and for us, we didn't really talk about them at all on our podcast at all.
And some would argue it's a storybook ending for them, with them being knocked out by Iowa last year in the Final Four. Now getting to take out Iowa in the championship
and ruin
for a perfect
storybook
season.
Ending.
So, it was a 12-point win too. It was a good win.
Yeah, it was good, but
they're dominant.
It was close until it was a close game until
Cardoza in the middle.
Minute.
She's unreal. I think that's her name. She's a beast in the middle.
I mean, no matter what, these girls who are about to graduate or within a year of graduating, or even the girls like Juju who are just freshmen who are coming in, like this is a good group of athletes, a good group of girls. I love watching Becker when she's been talking lately about her awards and all, or when they lost the game.
I think her final year is next year. Yeah,
she seems incredibly humble. Like, she seems like a very humble person.
Yeah, she was saying she doesn't want to have the Caitlin Clark media attention next year. Which
she said there's a lot of other women that deserve it just as much as she does, and I think she mentioned during that she was already kind of in the spotlight. She's like,
I think so.
Had her share, which I thought was very humble. It's really exciting to see where the sport's going.
Yes.
And I think a big argument, I was talking to one of my friends about this yesterday, I think a big argument against women's sports gaining in popularity is, at least from personally what I've heard from others, and something I've actually agreed with, is the talent's just not there. Like, it's hard to watch a women's basketball game when the excitement's just not as there in comparison to the NBA, when you've got guys throwing oops and dunking and shooting from 40 feet. Yeah. But now,
if they start ooping, I'll watch every game. Right. Like, that's the only thing we're missing now. We've got the shots.
Now we've got the shots. Yeah.
We've got shooters.
We've got the talent, and we're seeing it right in front of us. You guys talked about last week when Caitlin Clark said that the women's game, tournament was more popular, and it might not be. I don't think it is personally, but it's more popular than it's ever been.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, that LSU game that in Iowa, that broke records for the most watched game in women's college basketball history.
Yep.
And admittedly, there's been some great historic games too, and moments that people have seen. So it's just really fun to watch the growth of the sport. And I feel a little bad for Caitlin Clark, because she got so close a few times and won a lot of.
I mean, she went off that first quarter today, but I mean, she had I believe 18 points. Yeah, she had 18 points in the first quarter, but then just unfortunately she was held to 12 for the remaining 3 quarters. So
only held to 30.
Yeah, only.
Tough
Dang.
game.
Tough day at the office. I know what you mean, though. It's only. For her, it's only.
Yeah.
But for anybody else, it's not only.
She did get locked up during that UConn game. I can't
Yeah,
remember what
face
that,
guarding,
Can't remember
yeah.
what that girl's
I
name
forget
was,
her
but she
name.
locked her up. She did a hell of a job.
Somebody went on Wikipedia and changed her profession to the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah,
I did
Shit,
see that, yeah.
Well earned. Because, Caitlin dropped 20 today in the first quarter?
18.
18 after, I think, what she had 4 going into half? 6 going into half
Oh, yeah,
against
last
UConn.
game.
Yeah, so shout out to her because that
She's going to the WNBA
Impressive.
just to guard her.
Oh, yeah. Defense.
your
They'll be
job.
like,
You might be the Caitlin Clark might be the reason you have a job is just lock her up.
Right.
Only
Well,
person that seems to be able to do
Yeah, have
it.
you guys ever heard of the Kobe stopper? Forget his name.
Oh, gosh.
I'll do more research and come back next week.
Oh, I'm proud of myself.
Why?
You held it in?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah, I did.
I know we don't got a big California viewership, but I would not have been liked.
So now that we've covered the women's championship game, let's move over
Black Hawk down.
to the offensive side, or the men's side of the game. UConn also making a statement, not in the Final Four. Well, they were in the Final Four, but they made it to the championship game against Purdue coming up. I don't really have an opinion. But what do you guys think is going to happen?
What do I think is going to happen?
Yeah.
I think UConn's going to repeat, and I'm going to be very upset because I have a bracket that could win me some money if Purdue wins it all. But knowing my luck, it's now a guarantee that UConn is winning.
How much would you win? $5 million?
No, just $100.
Close.
I
Just a-
really think it'll be how the game is officiated. That, I think, will be a big play here where UConn is good inside with their... I can't remember his name. I think it's No, it's not.
I know. Yeah.
They're 32.
He was supposed to go to. Oh, he was
He was
recruited
hurt a
by
little earlier in
Syracuse.
the
Yeah.
he was
Where'd
hurt
they
earlier in the
gander?
year, but he's good inside. I think they've got a big...
Estrada?
Yes, I believe.
Is it... Nope, that's not him.
No, I was
That was
saying
Alabama.
Alabama.
Spencer.
Spencer's the point
No.
guard. I'm pretty sure.
Carabin?
Nope, that's the white dude. He's 6'7", but he shoots threes.
Oh, I know. Klingon.
Yes,
Donovan Klingon.
Yes, Klingon.
I thought that said guard, and that's why I kept missing it.
No, a big man. Yeah, Klingon is very good, but I do think because they'll move, Karaba
Ninth in the nation in field goal percentage.
they'll move him into. I think he'll be the secondary defender on Edie. Maybe, like I think there'll be a drop off after him where Edie I think really will be effective if they can get him into foul trouble early. I think you'll see Purdue start to really slow the game down.
Yeah.
and almost work inside out, where they'll
Well,
have
yeah,
to
that's
start
what they
they'll
do,
have to
yeah.
start doubling from the guard position, and Edie will kick out for some open threes
Edie's
there.
got to play a whole lot better though. I was not that impressed the other day when watching.
I thought he did better than I thought he was going to. I thought people were sleeping on, what was it, McConnell? Is that the right 23 for NC State? The big man that plays opposite of DJ Burns.
Oh, jeez.
Diarra.
The white guy? No, white guy. Diarra is like their 4.
Isn't that what you wanted?
Yeah, you said the other big man.
I'm looking for the guy that not him and DJ switch in and out.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
He's white.
So the backup
He
center
played.
is
He
who
played
has-
really. He played really
Middlebrooks.
well. Yeah.
Middlebrooks.
Ben Middlebrooks. Junior 6'10", forward.
That may be right. Is he white?
Yes.
Yeah. They only
There
got
you
a
go.
couple.
Played
They only,
26 minutes.
Listen, they got a couple white boys. One of them, he isn't a forward. I know that for a fact. No, but he played really well against them. Like I thought that he held up his own on Zach more than anything.
I
there.
thought Edie struggled the last 2 games, and I know that's going to sound weird because he put up 40 2 games ago. But, like, watching him, me and my dad were watching him, and at one point, my dad goes, Edie doesn't look like he's playing very good. And then I started, like, paying attention to it, and I was
he
like...
never looks like he's playing.
And then I was
good,
like, he
though.
kind of doesn't. Like, he misses a lot of shots.
Yes.
He just gets fouled all the time. And then he, usually does well on the free throws, and he's 7'4", so it's easier for him to get rebounds.
Yes.
I was like, and then
Welcome to Purdue basketball.
yeah,
brother.
and then at the end of the game,
Yeah.
it was like he got 40 and 20, and I was like, where the heck did 40 and 20 come from? So, yes, I don't think Edie's that good. So I think unless he gets every call under the sun like you were alluding to with the officiating, then they should get dominated. But if he gets all the calls, then they'll win.
But I still think he puts up at least 17 and 15.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And that's where it's
Even
like,
if he's not getting calls.
exactly. So it's like, okay, at what point, how many if he gets a handful of calls, that may be enough to give him that 2020. You
True.
know, or the,
That's a good point.
It's so tough with him because it doesn't look right. You know what I mean? Like it's Yao Mingish.
Well, the thing is now is this is the first time that we're going to actually see somebody his own size guarding him. Like, I understand that he's 2 inches shorter than Edie.
Right.
But it's only 2 inches. When you're 7'4" and 7'2", that's not a lot.
Yeah.
So we're going to finally see somebody his size guarding him. He might not be able to get a lot of those calls because the guy's going to be so big.
This is true.
That he might be able to just stand him up.
This is true.
But no matter what, it'll be really interesting.
And I know last game they were talking about Alabama's key was their guards making threes, and obviously in the first half they were making threes, and it was the second half where the three stopped. You know, going down
Really
law
killed
of
the over.
averages. Do you think it's the same thing with the UConn versus Purdue, where again it's like, okay, Edie's going to get what he gets, and it's just really kind of all about the guards. If they're making threes, they're going to win, and if not, UConn's going to win. Is that a easy statement to simplify it?
UConn's so weird to me because like I don't think I've seen UConn adjust to any. UConn just forces themselves upon whomever.
That's a good point.
So
yeah.
and that's where I think the games that I have watched against them where they've struggled at Marquette or at Providence, they didn't make adjustments. It's just, hey, we're UConn, this is what we do. So, I mean,
They're going to come to us.
I mean, it's just UConn is so good. They seem to take advantage. Like, hey, you want to slow it down? Fine. We're going to run our set. You're going to give us the opportunity to run? We're going to run. You know, like it. They just seem to be the team that
Yeah, they
takes
have that
whatever
great
opportunities
motion offense.
there.
It's great.
So it's just so hard to know with them. And it's like, okay, what adjustments? Like, I can't even envision them needing to make adjustments to being able to tell you, okay, hey, yeah, this is the adjustments I think they're going to need to make on Zach. Because they haven't been bullied down low all year. It hasn't
Good
been
point.
an issue. So I don't know. I think Purdue's only chance is to work inside out and really force the ball down to Edie. Hopefully,
then, like you
hopefully
said,
they collapse on
Guards
Edie.
have to make threes.
If they leave Edie one-on-one and he can't win one-on-one, it's going to be a long night for Purdue.
Yeah. I agree with that much.
So you got UConn winning it all?
Yeah.
I got UConn 78-69.
UConn by 7.
I'll be different. I'll go with Purdue.
You just want to make money.
I'll go, yes. Yes, I do.
Well, so you got him by 9?
78,
69? That's right.
I got
7. I would like Purdue plus 7.5. Give me Purdue plus 7.5.
I got
I don't know what the line is.
74-68.
I don't either, actually.
I'm going to check.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Actually, we'll,
6.5.
Tell me I'm not good. Come on, tell me I'm not good.
Good.
by the time you
I don't feel
guys
comfortable
watch
taking
this
UConn at
podcast,
6.5.
you
I really
already
don't
know
feel comfortable
who is
taking UConn at
correct.
6.5.
Let us know in the comments who is correct.
Yes.
More
Do
than-
that.
More than likely, it's Tom and Mikey. But hey, go Purdue.
Some news in the NBA. Taking a little bit of a pivot.
That's still basketball.
It's true. We're advancing, though.
We are advancing.
Unlike college basketball.
Oof.
Two guys that advanced their abilities more than probably 99% of the NBA players in history. I'd say more like 98. Is Chauncey Billups and Vince Carter both getting inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame.
Love to see that.
Very exciting stuff. Obviously,
What took him so long to get Chauncey in there? Chauncey's been retired for way longer than Vince, or is there not a retirement rule in
there's
basketball?
not a retirement rule. You can get a lot of people get on the first time, if I remember.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, like I said, T-Mac, what people thought he wasn't even going to go to the
Baseball
Hall of
just
Fame and
raises
made
my
it the first time.
expectations.
Yeah.
It just raises my expectations for the requirements of other sports.
When you have a sport that's that old, you kind of have to be specific.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
just always
hey,
been that way. Hey, we're voting.
That's
Hey,
true.
we're voting.
Yeah, but at least the NBA,
Like-
for the most part, gets everyone in. It's a more the NBA's issue is
It's
letting
like you
too
did it.
many
It's like, hey guys,
people
you did
in.
it without getting arrested. Let's go, Hall of Fame. Jesus.
No wonder LiAngelo Ball couldn't make it in the NBA. He got
Yeah,
arrested.
already, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, it wasn't a Hall of Fame
That
caliber
man was
guy,
fighting
so
an
let's put
uphill
him out.
battle.
We can't get him in the league.
Actually, yeah. So now some cousins, because T-Mac and Vince Carter are cousins. They'll
Yes.
both be in the Hall of Fame.
I
together.
I'm really excited for both of them for kind of different reasons. Obviously, T-Mac and Vince, like, that was such a time to be alive for Toronto.
Oh my gosh,
that
yeah.
Raptors team was really exciting. And Vince Carter, I mean, his ability around the rim finishing
Half
wise.
man, half amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he is so many people's favorite player. Like,
And he adjusted his game. If you look at the 3-point
You have
percentage,
to.
he made a lot of threes. What, probably like 8th, I think.
he went from being a primary dunker to being completely content standing in the corner.
And I don't think people understand how difficult that is.
No, that's incredibly difficult.
Well, I mean, it's so difficult to stay in the league for as long as he did.
Yeah, he
But
played
then
for
we
20
talk
years,
about
I
like
think.
the Duncan Robinson effect, like and stuff like he saw so many different,
Types
almost
of
like
games, yeah.
it's almost like a Moneyball effect with the NBA, where it's like they keep finding new stats that they're like, hey, this is the one we're gonna base it off of. Where for a while it was 3-point percentage, they got rid of that, so all of his inside game didn't mean anything there for a little bit, and then after that it was you still had to hit threes, but you also had to play defense.
Yeah, the 3
well,
and
the
D
3 and D,
players.
yeah, the 3 and D came in, and I think he was like, "Holy crap, I'm that height."
Yeah, he's like,
What
I
if
can
I
do
just
this.
did that, and then he made a career
I mean,
for
his
it.
system was built perfectly. It ended up working out perfectly for him in his career.
And people who couldn't do it like he did. I mean, well, at least one person you could argue Dwayne Wade was better than
Right.
him, but he couldn't adapt his game. He stayed a primary scoring, inside scoring too, and that was a big reason why he got out of the league so quickly once the knees gave out.
Was speed ever really a part of, like, speed? Like, I feel like was a big part of D Wade's game, like agility, quickness. Where was that ever really a part of like a young Richard Jefferson's game? Maybe to an extent.
Richard Jefferson?
Uh,
Oh, Vince,
Vince
you talking about
Carter?
Yeah, Vince Carter.
Well,
Vince
yeah,
Carter.
I mean, yeah, he would take people at the 3 and just blow by
Yeah,
him and
one
dunk.
block.
That's right. Like I
Boom.
know he was
Yeah.
athletic. That's right. I just didn't know like
One
how
dribble
fast.
net.
Like where.
He's fast,
Kobe,
fast.
like I wouldn't say Kobe was fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like Kobe was athletic, like and super explosive. But like where I'm looking at
but still, those knees,
D
you're
Wade,
still
like
falling.
D
You're
Wade
still
was
falling on
he
those
needed
knees.
his quickness, needed his speed, almost like where that's where I think age hurts him more than it does.
I don't think his speed. I mean, yes, his speed went but I think it was more of his knees went. I think
That's fair.
landing was so egregious for his knees that he couldn't get to the rim anymore because he knew he'd have to come back down. Like I think Vince was like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Guys, if we can call timeout after every dunk and I can just hold on to the rim, you guys come get me. I'll play.
Get the step ladder.
It's like
I'm
when
good for 5 buckets a game, coach. 5 timeouts.
when Kevin Hart was trying to explain to them how you have to sack the quarterback now, and they all like picked him up and gently lowered him to the ground.
It's a great comedy bit because it'll never get old, especially the more and more soft the NFL goes.
But yeah, and then Chauncey Billups too. Like,
To take that
did he,
Detroit
did he
Pistons.
get the MVP at that finals?
I hope he did.
I can't remember that. I didn't want to say that,
That's
but I
the-
think he did.
I believe he's the only player, one of the few, to win an NBA champion without another top 75 player on that list that was announced. That 2006, he was like the only top,
finals MVP.
Yeah, I think he made the top 75, right?
I would imagine. I don't remember.
If he's in the Hall of Fame and didn't, we have serious. I'm gonna have an issue.
Well, there's over 100 people in the Hall of Fame.
I was thinking like decade team or whatever.
Yeah, because I want to say he was on it, and like I said, he was one of the few people where he won a championship without a top 75 teammate, which was just great for Chauncey Billups.
He was just absolutely incredible. Alrighty
Him
here.
and Ben Wallace.
As
Oof.
of what year though? And like,
The top 75 was what? Just a couple years ago? 3 years ago?
gotcha.
Oh no, he didn't make it.
He didn't make it?
But still,
Oh,
he's
so
finals
so
MVP.
that I think that's what it was. They're the only team
To win
ever
it without
without
a
a
top
top 75
player.
player, which that team, like I said,
That's
Chauncey Billup,
Yeah,
Rip Hamilton,
and they still had
Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace, that's who I was trying to think of. Afro Man.
Oh my God, Ben.
Then
Wallace.
did they have Jackson then? What was his first name? I can't remember.
Not Reggie Jackson.
Prince.
Yes. No.
I want to say
Speaking
that
of
was
Was
Prince,
Prince
did you
on
guys-
that team?
Tayshaun Prince.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tayshaun Prince.
He
No, I think he was older or younger.
I was just saying, I feel like I don't know too many Piston players, but
No.
he's one that I'm like, I vividly remember him wearing the mask. Like,
Yeah,
he
that
was
was Rip
masked
Hamilton.
up. Oh, Hamilton. That was Hamilton.
Rip Hamilton. I want to.
I think he was like late
But then again,
2000s and then 2010s.
I feel like Tayshaun played for everybody and anybody.
But,
Like late in his career, he kind of bounced
he
around
played for
from
Hawks
like,
for a little bit.
where I could have seen him in a jersey there at one point in time, or it could have been a Clippers
Well, he
jersey.
played for the Pistons for a while. Tayshaun Prince did play for the Pistons, if I remember correctly, for a
Yeah.
while.
Tayshaun Prince did win a championship, yeah.
With them?
If it was, it's got to be the same year. No
2004,
way they
yeah.
got
Yeah,
sold.
okay, yeah.
2004, yeah.
Yeah, you got it
Sorry,
right.
I know my ball.
I said 2006 earlier. That was the Heat, my bad.
I didn't even hear you say 06.
It was 2004. And they went on, like, that crazy run of, right? They went,
If it wasn't for the Mouse and the Palace, they
me-
probably could have gone back to back.
yeah.
You tell me Tayshaun Prince isn't a top 75 player?
Absolutely
Or
not.
Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, are you kidding
The
me?
only
These guys ain't
argument
top
would probably
75
be
guys?
Ben Wallace. I mean, he won so many Defensive Player of
That's
the Year
true.
awards.
I mean, yeah.
and I think is like
But
third
then again-
all-time in blocks.
What was he doing for you on the offensive side of the
He
floor,
would
though?
get you like 10
Back
points.
then, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You got boards
No,
and you got blocks.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to say that he's really good at that. Probably best in that era. One of the best in that era at those
was.
categories. But to be a top 75 player, you need a little more than just those categories.
He looked so scary.
Oh my
Just as
yeah,
a
the
human
afro. Are you
being,
kidding? Yeah, and he was always playing with attitude and
And
aggression.
he was just yoked. That dude was
Yeah, it was
jacked.
right. 9.5. He scored 9.5.
That's
not
pretty
bad.
good.
Close, yeah.
I'm more impressed with you saying he averaged right around 10 a game than him averaging 9.5.
Yeah,
That's
you were
impressive.
close. Good
Really,
job.
yeah. Yeah, and he averaged, so for that year, like I said, 9.5.
2.2 blocks.
I got to look up the blocks, but 12.5 rebounds a game.
Yeah, I'll
which is
take
pretty
that.
darn
You give me
good.
9.5 and 12. Yeah, I'll take that. Even today, even in today's league,
Yeah, let's see. Blocks.
What
per
was
game.
Rodman putting up? Because, I mean, that was
probably
his job. I mean, they had
4 and
similar roles.
18 and a half, probably. What did, he averaged around 18 boards a game, I think.
What? 1 second. I'm
Just
am I
similar roles, though, you know, like
Yeah, but the worm
defense
did
rebounds.
it differently, though.
Uh,
Old Denny boy.
different positions. Yeah, because
No,
4
I
and
think
5.
they both were the 4.
Huh?
I'm reading right here. There was 1 year he averaged 7 blocks a game.
No shot. Are you on ESPN?
Well, dude, think about it.
On his career stats?
Think about it, though. The
I'm
offenses were
looking.
going inside. Like,
Let me go to ESPN.
threes
like you
weren't
said.
a
But
thing, really.
7?
7's ridiculous.
Come
I'm aware.
on.
I'm aware. Did Yao ever average 7?
Blocks.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, that's-
Okay.
But then again, no one had the audacity to drive it down.
Okay,
He was a little
no,
bit
no,
smaller.
I don't know what that article was saying, but he did at one
Fake news.
point
Not allowed.
average 3.5 blocks a game in 2001.
What about 04, though? That's what I'm interested in.
04, he averaged just under 2, 1.8.
Dennis Rodman averaged 7 points and 13 rebounds. All right, we are really
They're
just-
pretty close. That's not
That's
too
very
far
close.
off.
Did you know Dennis Rodman also averages the most rebounds per game in NBA history?
Would you rather have Ben Wallace or Dennis Rodman?
Dennis
on your
Rodman.
team?
I think I'm gonna go Ben Wallace just because I can control him a little. Like
Then-
they're
No,
both batshit crazy.
That's what you want him. Like, you can control him. Malice in the Palace. At least Rodman never fought anybody. Like, what do you mean?
To the best of my knowledge, none of Wallace's teammates had to go to Las Vegas to get him back to rejoin the
Yeah,
team.
at least they could
And
go
he never
and
asked for it.
At least they
he
could get
just
him to
only-
rejoin the team. Wallace was out for like half a season. He punched 3 white dudes in the stands.
But that was awesome.
They deserved it.
that
though.
was-
At
that
a
was-
world
They
peace.
deserved
But
it.
that was awesome.
It was awesome.
That was awesome.
Malice in the Palace is one of my like favorite parts of like NBA history.
NBA history.
Because
hates
everybody
that.
in
And that
that
was a
stands deserved that. The Pistons stood on business.
I'll take the one-time disaster over the long-time career disaster.
That's fair. But one of them averaged the most rebounds in NBA history, and one more, really individual and
Dude,
career awards.
you haven't even dropped
And
this
team
best
awards.
accolade yet. Come on now, keep going.
He never
World
showered.
peace with North Korea.
Oh, that's
he was an
Yeah.
ambassador
That is
to
a
North
good
Korea. Are you
point.
kidding?
That is a very good point.
That just this full spectrum there of
So yeah,
first
I want
one of
Rodman.
the first NBA players to ever dye their hair.
Well, yeah.
to
Do you want a
ambassador
guy,
to North Korea.
Yeah, do you want a
And he
guy
married
who fights
himself.
you want a guy who fights fans or a guy who brings world peace?
I know they said Bo could do it all, but Bo Jackson did it all. But come on, does Bo have that kind of range? I don't
Bo
think so.
knows. Rodman gets it done. Okay? That's what happens.
Rodman knows ambassadorial duties. That's what Rodman knows.
He's expanded his game past basketball.
Oh my God.
But yes, so congratulations to Chauncey Billups
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
Detroit Pistons
And Vince Carter, brother.
and Vince Carter.
You know what they are? They were part of special teams.
And special players.
And they were special plays and special players.
I messed it up. That's on me.
You should know that, Joseph. Grow up.
I think we're
Culture.
on Team USA's at 1.2. So
What?
I was thinking of like when you were like special team. I was like, oh, like Team USA. 'Cause I'm pretty sure they were on the
He's
Team
lost.
USA.
1.2.
He's lost.
Where'd we get
I
the
have-
1.2 from?
He
What
got lost on
1.2?
special
You
teams.
said you just didn't. Did you?
What?
Yeah, no.
I was saying Team USA.
I think you said
Team
1.2. Oh my
at
god.
one point. At one
Oh, at 1.2.
1.2, yeah.
Okay, I
point.
was
They were
like,
on
whoa.
Team USA. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay.
All right, well, moving on to a different sport. Third of
Okay.
the day, technically second, but third league of the day. We'll go with.
League.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go the third league of the day. So this was like about a week ago, I believe.
About a week ago.
Fourth.
Men's, women's.
Fourth league. You're right,
men's,
Tom.
women's, NBA,
My man.
and then
That's a good point. I forgot that we started it with women's college.
Mhm.
Then we
Yes.
went to men's college. I was just thinking college. Alrighty.
It's fair.
So about a week ago.
I just did that. Yeah.
Oh, did you really?
Yes, I did.
Oh, God, we're just all over the place, boys. I'm trying to control this thing. It's all over the place. Alrighty. So about a week ago, the NFL had. The NFL released its highest performance pay list on the year. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, because it's not a title that makes sense.
I'm glad you're going to explain it because I
yeah.
had no clue when you sent it.
It is an incentive-based pay scale that players are able to earn based off their contract negotiations or just stipulations added from the league itself. They released the list of what everybody made. I have in front of me, and the gentleman to my left and right do as well, a list of the top 25. And there's a couple names in here that are pretty interesting to see. Leading off the list is John Simpson. He is a guard, not really that interesting to see, but he's number one, so he's got to be mentioned. He made $974,000 this year. But a couple names that I was interested in seeing was Tariq Woolen and Brock Purdy. Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy was 24 on the list with $739. He made almost his entire base contract just in incentives this year. But
Who is this? Sorry, I was looking
Brock
at a different
Purdy.
name. Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and
Purdy.
it's with that.
you expect that.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean, with the Mr. Irrelevant status, it's just hey. You're happy to make money at that point, you know. It's just thank God these are in the contract for the guy.
Imagine if they weren't. Imagine if it was just a rookie-based contract, no incentives.
my
No
God.
incentives attached to that, and he was doing all of this on a rookie-based salary. That would be
I would have
insanity.
sat out the Super Bowl unless they renegotiated right there. I'd be like, you want me to play?
You guys saw what happened last year, didn't you?
Well, it depends. Maybe the team in that scenario would help him get more sponsors outside of the organization.
Yeah, no, I'm sure
so
I'm sure that
if
they
it's
could
good
find.
relationships,
I'm
in
sure
that
that-
scenario.
Sure,
But the
they'd
good
find a
thing is they don't
workaround.
need to worry about it because they got the incentive
They said, yeah,
pass.
go find your own sponsorships. You get bonuses here.
Somebody who does not need to worry about incentive pay is quite ironically the lowest on the list for this year's.
Who could that be?
Mr. Aaron Rodgers
Oh, my
made
gosh.
a total of $81.14 because he played in 0.33% of the stats.
I wouldn't have guessed it just
I
because
would've.
it would have slipped my brain that he only
Oh, I
played
thought you
30
saw it.
seconds. No, I didn't see. It's not
Oh,
at the
you're
bottom
just
there.
looking at the picture. You saw it.
I did see
Yeah,
it.
I have it on the notes too, so I thought you knew.
Yeah, no.
I should have told you to guess. Darn it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have just because I would have completely
Dang it.
forgot that he played this year and that he would have
So we
gotten
got
paid.
like $28 like per play. $29.
81. He played.
Oh, he still got
3.
paid out gets paid
Yeah,
out
I
the
know,
original
but it's
contract.
funny his incentive.
His
like,
incentive,
Yeah,
yeah.
made about what $27 per play.
per play. That's crazy.
That is me.
Thank God though, like in all seriousness, like this is extremely funny that out of all people, Aaron Rodgers made $81 in incentive pay.
Yeah, the guy that doesn't need the cash. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, but he doesn't need it. So thank God, out of anybody, it was him.
Yeah,
Like,
so that way we could talk about it without having to be like, oh yeah, Brock Purdy got paid $81 in incentive pay. Yeah, if it was like, yeah, that was actually probably a better way. Instead of there being no incentive pay, it just being super skewed like the rookie contract is.
man, those rookie contracts for the upper echelons guys, those are good though. Oh, those are nice.
Indeed.
But I did also like seeing Tariq Woolen on there as well because he's a guy that's kind of, I'm not going to put him on the exact same level, but he's been one of those guys who's a little bit kind of like the Brock Purdy of defense. Like he's not Mr. Irrelevant and he was expected to be much better, but he has played very well for the Seahawks the entire time that he's been on the roster. So it is exciting to see the young guys get paid before they can get paid, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Love to see it.
And, you know, I don't know how much Sauce made. That's actually very interesting to see. I'm surprised that Tariq Woolen was number 10 on the list over some of the other cornerbacks, now that I think about it, that are out
No, there were some names on there that I was kind of surprised on, like Bland being that low. Like, I get 700,000 it's a nice bag to bring home, but when you set an NFL record, I expect you to be in the top 10 of
Deron
incentives.
Bland. Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I expect you to be in the top 10 of incentives for setting an NFL record, right?
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
actually.
you know-
So there's some of these where it's like, but I'm betting it was the incentive that he got paid on was his interceptions and not his interceptions returned for touchdowns.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
You know what I mean? Where I'm sure that's going to be in the next contract.
Or maybe
I guarantee you that the return for touchdowns will be in the next contract for another
or-
incentive.
That's what I'm.
Or maybe he gets dinged for every time he gets burnt toast. When
Yeah.
Which
Which
was kidding. It was a lot. He got burnt a lot last
Hey,
year.
he's a gambler, dude.
Yes.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you win.
I'll take
Sometimes
it.
you win.
What I'm interested in is in the structure of those contracts. I'm curious, is it an NFL base salary where they're like, this is what every single person drafted in this area is going to get? Or is it, hey, these are the incentives you are allowed to offer your rookie when you're signing
That's
them?
a good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's free
Good.
expectation because, like, if you're in a heavy, like, for instance, the Ravens are going to have far different expectations for any of their wide receivers comparatively to the Kansas City Chiefs that air the ball out. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in a run-based offense, you're going to have way easier time hitting your incentives. If it was all just kind of league-based.
That's a good point.
So you think it might
But-
go to the
and-
teams?
And I think a lot of them could be league-ranked, where it may be worded, like, if I lead the NFL in rushing, I'm going to get this.
True.
But I know a lot of them are certain milestones of yardages and this and that.
I
So
do think I think I've seen
think it is
reports before. It's team based, like the teams.
yeah,
come up with it.
teams get to set it based on how it's almost the team's expectation of you, right? Where
And
it's
sometimes
like, hey,
they can be
we
really
expect
nice.
we expect you to be just. It's pretty much saying, hey, we expect you to be just under this point, right? They're giving you the incentive to go above their expectations. They're expecting you to be just a little bit below that, right? If all goes according to plan, everything should be a little bit below that because the owner doesn't want you to get paid. They've done the math in their minds of saying, okay, if we have this many receptions from you throughout the course of the year, this many receptions from this guy, that should lead us to winning the Super Bowl.
right.
And if everybody reaches those milestones, I'll pay everybody out the
Wazoo.
incentive for getting there, because we're going to make that cash from getting to the Super Bowl.
And
So
isn't
it's kind of that concept there.
And isn't that how the Saints manipulated the cap a few years ago, where they were signing people for less money, but they were giving out
Jack
way
up
more
the incentive,
incentives
yeah.
and saying play one game and you'll get a $5 million incentive, and of course it wasn't a part of
At least
the
they're
cap.
not. At least they're not baseballing it, where they're just saying, "Hey, we're going to pay you a quarter of it up front, and then we'll pay you the rest of it later, so we can keep paying guys now."
Yeah, it's crazy.
True.
I can't believe they allow that.
Craziness.
That's going to be such an issue down the field.
Well,
No pun intended.
So sad, so upsetting for
Well,
the Dodgers.
I'll take us down that rabbit hole then. Say, with all of the betting that goes around, MLB uncovers new information, and they can directly tie
Ohtani.
Shohei to the betting.
Oh God.
Dodgers
he-
going to make out like bandits because they're going to
I don't know.
save so much money.
Do you have to still pay him
No.
if he's kicked out of the? I'm sure you wouldn't. But that would be
Why would you
crazy.
pay
if
him
they-
an
Listen,
MLB contract if he's not?
Because I
doing it?
want them to, damn it. They tried to cheat the system. Make them pay the contract.
That's fair. I like that argument. You should have led with that.
I mean, any other. If it was the Yankees, everybody else would be on board.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
if
a
it was
good
the
point.
Yankees
Yeah.
that does, everybody else would be
Yeah,
on board.
that's a great point. If this was Aaron Judge, they'd be burnt to the ground.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I just want transparency, and equality across the board.
Honestly, I don't know. Actually, I might backpedal a little bit. I don't know if they'd burn Yankee Stadium to the ground because I think everybody would be so perplexed that it wasn't PED related that I don't know if they'd be mad. They'd be like, "Whoa!"
Everybody gets
Gambling?
the breaking news. Found leaked messages on Aaron Judge's phone. You're like, oh, steroid guy
Yeah.
for sure. Nope, gambling guy.
Yeah, we all remember where Steve Irwin was when he died because it was a stingray.
Turns out Aaron was betting on the under of his home runs per game 2 years ago.
Just too good.
and doing terribly. He's losing out on all the cash.
Why is he pissed? He's hit 3 home runs today.
That's why he never smiles. It's not that he doesn't like the veneers he got. It's that he was
Does
pissed
he have
off that
veneers?
whole season. Oh, yeah, dude. He used to have a gap. He used
Yeah,
to have
it
the
was
Strahan
bad.
gap.
Yeah, it was
He got
bad.
that fixed up.
Okay, that's good for him because I always noticed that when I used to look at him.
He got it fixed up pretty quick there.
Did you guys ever see that video of him when he was it was probably like his 3rd year playing for the Yankees, and he was just walking around Central Park with
He had
glasses
just got.
on?
I think it was just after he gotten it fixed too.
Yeah. He
Was-
was wearing glasses. People are like, is that Aaron Judge?
And somebody
No,
told him,
there's
they're
no
like,
gap.
I think he was like, "What do you think of when you think of Aaron Judge?" And he was like, "Well, I think of the Yankees, I think of baseball, and I think of the gap." And Aaron just smiled at him and goes, "Yeah, you think of tall people like?" And he's, you kind of look like him if you had that gap. I think that's exactly what Joe's remembering is that video. I think you kind of, if you had that gap, you would be Aaron Judge. What he told to Aaron Judge, it's like, all right, I'm glad I got these fixed up then. Huh? That was my defining feature. That's how people recognized me and took that away from him.
Yeah, good for him because I can't think of Michael Strahan without thinking about
Right?
the gap.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, it's bad,
I
dude.
can.
Like,
I can think of him with a Super Bowl in his hand.
he could fit that
Super
Super Bowl ring in the
championship.
gap.
That's what I think of him.
He could fit it in the gap. Was he there for both of them?
No, just the one, and then he retired.
I couldn't remember.
Storybook ending for him.
Yep. Another storybook ending, Jerome Bettis.
Yep.
He went out in his hometown, too. He was from Detroit.
That. Oof.
Yeah.
Did they ever win one with Tiki or no?
I don't think they did. When did he retire? He retired
Tiki,
kind
no,
of late.
Tiki retired that year that they won it with Strahan because Tiki was talking all sorts of crap about Eli and how Eli wasn't the leader to get it
Oh,
done.
yeah.
No, I vividly remember that, but that's why I can't remember if Tiki got it done before saying all of that about Eli.
Tiki needs to learn how to shut his mouth.
Yeah, he's been kind of rogue.
Yeah, he was mean to Saquon when Saquon went to Philly. You're dead to me.
Honestly, man, I hate any
Super
New
Bowl.
York fan that's mad at him for leaving. Shut up.
They use and abuse
Just
him.
shut
My
up.
goodness.
Tiki never won a
He's
Super
the
Bowl.
only reason y'all mother truckers got half the wins the last 4 years that you had. You rode him and
who
rode
we talking
him
about?
Saquon.
and rode him, and you did nothing for him. Okay,
Use
he
and
doesn't
abuse.
he doesn't owe you anything. He gave you most of his career. Now shut up, get over it, and move on. Even with him, y'all were terrible. I'm sorry, Tom. No offense.
Oh no,
But-
I'm happy. No, I agree.
Get over it.
No. I agree with everything that you just said, but I think that it's time to be. I think he's over. Like how as an
yeah.
NFL running back, how many more years can you get
Not
used
a
and
lot.
abused like that?
Oh, God.
I think we did it right by riding him hard,
But
sending
the
him off
Eagles
to
have
let
a
somebody else
system.
pay
They
him.
That-
kind of
yeah.
rotate, so he probably actually has a few years
That's
left.
what I was gonna say. That's a good team to be on if you are an older running back right now. I would
I think they're
much rather be him than Derrick Henry.
I think they're in a ring hunting position in the
For sure.
with the running, and that's what they did with Swift last year. Is he's in and he's gone, right? He's not
Yeah.
with them again.
Right, he's on the Bears.
Yeah, move him in, move him out. They're trying to fill a hole.
I mean, that's how the league is right now. Unless you got one of the 6 guys, everyone's filling running backs right now.
Right.
Everyone's letting older ones go and replacing them with nobodies. They're drafting running backs higher than.
And I mean, Philadelphia made sense for Saquon too. He went to Penn State.
Yeah, he's from there.
Oh, yeah.
The state loves him.
Yeah.
So
He's a hero, and they're gonna welcome him with open arms.
until he fumbles,
And they're gonna hate the Giants even more.
he's gonna fumble
Probably.
against the Giants for a big win next year.
You think so? You want to put money on it?
It's not even gonna be a big win for the Giants.
It'll be
It's
like
going to
your
be a
fourth
big
win.
loss for the Eagles. That's actually what I want more of. I don't even want it to be a big win for the Giants. I want it to be a big loss for the Eagles.
I feel
That's
like-
what I want it to
I
be.
feel like with the state of your team right now, any win against the Eagles, no matter when it is a big win.
Fair.
I did really bad with this rundown. I threw the NFL topic right in the middle of the NBA, so we're just going to back her up, put her in reverse, head back
back
over to
to
the
the
NBA.
NBA.
Flip it in reverse.
Yeah, snuck that bad boy right in the middle of there, and that was an accident, but we're going to keep cooking.
It's all good.
Well, hey, we got it to insert somewhere on the notes where the rest of us could see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that took
we
like 5 minutes.
We
We had
left it.
technical
We left it.
difficulties, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
was tough.
You've all stopped watching by now.
Just
anyway,
be glad
so.
the technical difficulties aren't on camera. This episode.
That's
you know?
true. Well,
Usually-
that we know of.
We are
Yeah.
getting better.
That's
That
facts.
is true. We're making progress.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. You know what I said to one of my friends earlier today? They were kind of bummed out because they've been trying to make progress in their emotional life, and they feel like they were struggling today.
Oh.
And I said,
And they went to you for advice?
yeah, right. Hey, but you know what? I hit him with some knowledge. I said, a turtle always gets to its destination.
That's not true. Some turtles die.
That is true.
That's
That's
not
a good
true,
point.
dude. Some turtles
Some
die.
We have all seen at least one dead turtle on the side of
Right?
the road in our life.
Yeah.
It didn't get to its destination.
But you know what? I bet we've all tried to catch a turtle and that sucker got away.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? They get high gear. They get flapping when
As
their
soon as
life's
they
in
get in
danger.
the sun, yeah.
That's my interpretation of a turtle. Just running really fast. Doesn't make any sense.
I
but-
feel so bad. Has anyone still watching this?
Somebody who can't run really fast right now, Julius Randle, out for the entirety of the next 5 games and the
Way to
playoffs.
circle that in.
That's
I
a
like that.
top 3 segue.
Thanks, man. Yeah, he can't run away from that injury. He's been dealing with a shoulder injury, so he probably can run, but not on the NBA court.
Right.
But he's out for the rest of the season, and
Big
it's
loss for the Knicks.
Yeah, it's a really big loss. I'm not going to say this is one of his better years because it's not, but he's had a pretty consistent career, and this year is one of them. He was
Speaking of
having
consistency, that's what I was going to bring up. Are we really willing to say he's injury prone at this point? Because
Yes.
this is consistent for him to be injured.
Yeah, he was injured
Actually,
in the
to be honest-
playoffs last year. Yeah.
I would say he's ahead of schedule, right? Like he's right on time to then now get healthy for playoffs.
No, I think
he's out for the season.
year.
Yeah, well, it sucks to be him.
So he's
Yeah.
on schedule to be there for
But I do
next year
agree,
to
yes,
start.
injury prone. He down the stretch, he's always hurt.
I think it's now official, especially with this injury. I would say Jalen Brunson's team now.
Oh yeah, I think it's been his team since he got there.
I just remember last
think
year
it
we were
has to
talking
be.
about the playoffs where I said again, like last
Was
year.
he ready?
Yeah, was he ready? You know, because again, I remembered last year in the playoffs, we
Yeah.
kind of were like, what's up with the Knicks? And I said, well, you know, Randall isn't playing, and sometimes, you know, even though we all think Brunson's better than him, you still kind of go, well, Randall's been there longer. He might feel it's his team. Other guys in the locker room might still side with Randall. But now, again, getting injured, and Brunson, for the most part, isn't injured and plays every single game.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I would
with
say
the
it's
system
Brunson.
of the league, and I feel like you have to almost play through a point guard unless you have Jokic on your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you gotta have. And that's where do they really play? I know they play through him, but it's still Brunson's carrying the ball. It's usually
Well,
a
it just-
1-2
No,
game
they,
with them
I think
too
they
a lot,
play
right?
through Brunson
Well,
majority.
again, it's more of the just again,
the
guys in the
leadership.
locker room.
The Marcus
you-
Smart,
you're
the Marcus
seeing
Smart
his-
Boston Celtics. Yeah,
his
no, I got you.
contract, and you're like, okay, you know, Brunson makes a lot of money, but Randall actually makes more than him. It should be, you know, Randall's team kind of deal. But now it's just again with injury, it's like no, it's
Yeah.
Brunson's 100%.
I think at this point,
Probably will lose to the Magic in the first round. Get
Yeah.
swept.
yeah, at this point it's just like just go out and ball, boys.
Yeah.
Do what we can.
See what you can do.
Yeah, try
Maybe.
to make some waves, but there's no way in the league that Brunson can carry a team past the second round. If he wins,
Past the second round.
if he wins the second round, like everyone's gonna be like, dude, this guy is
got that
him.
dog in him.
Yeah, because like
Yeah, Mav screwed up. Luka, you had a perfect partner.
yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing is that I guess he didn't, because now it seems like he does with Irving. I mean, him
Good
and
point.
Kyrie love playing together. That is
Yep.
very clear. So maybe it was kind of like with Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs trade. It's like both
Yeah.
teams, good job.
Good
You know
job.
what I mean? Yeah, it worked out well.
Oh,
But
could have talked about that too.
we can talk about that actually. We didn't even put that on the list. But yeah, it's just they can't get it done. They've got a deeper team than they did last year. They've gotten a lot better pieces with the trade with OG sending what's his face away, Barrett.
Yep. RJ Barrett.
Yeah, RJ Barrett away up to Toronto.
But now that depth is a little bit lacking again because of Randall's injury.
not even.
But who's your Jimmy Butler when it comes to playoffs time? That's what I'm saying.
they
Who's
don't
your
have
dog?
one. They don't have one.
That's my point.
we're
is-
going to think it's Brunson this
Yeah,
year, right?
that-
He's going to have that.
who-
dog.
who's
Well, I
your
mean,
dog?
Brunson's a dog. Brunson is a dog. They have a dog and it's Brunson, but a dog against 3 dogs can't win. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Jimmy went in there that first year when nobody was sleeping on Miami. Seemed like Jimmy was just the only notable name at that point in time on the first Miami team. Kind of
Yeah,
similarly
because
to
Hero
this
was
team.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hero was out because he broke his hand.
That's where it's just. I agree with you. Where I just don't think you,
I mean, he's not
especially in the
Jimmy
point guard
Butler, dog.
position, where I don't think you can see Brunson 1-on-1 enough point guards that he's going to see in the playoffs to be like, yeah, I'm going to will my team to the next round.
At the end of the day,
every round.
Unless you're shooting lights out, you can't be his height and dominate a game. Like, I'm sorry, you just can't. Like,
fair.
unless you're
that's
shooting
extremely
lights
fair.
out. If you can shoot 50, 55, 60% for a series, then albeit you can dominate anybody.
That's fair.
But
Right.
there's gonna be there's gonna be games where those shots aren't falling, and then you're gonna try to get into the paint, and Julius Randle's not there to help you, so they're gonna collapse on you. You know, I don't know. It's gonna be. I feel bad for the Knicks. It finally felt like they had a good group together. Like they could have made a deep playoff run.
Yeah.
This team healthy could have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Do you think they re-sign OG in the offseason
They-
and try to run it back?
Sure as heck should. I mean,
And
OG.
just hope and pray that Randall stays healthy?
I mean, that's the thing is like, yeah, they should re-sign OG, but like, dude, it's weird. I've never seen a player like OG Anunoby because he does not dominate, but he's really good. He's very consistent. But everybody in the league wants him more than the team that has him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like he gets traded for big pieces consistently traded, but it's not like, oh, toss OG on. It's like, oh, we want OG and we'll give you a first for 2 years from now. You know what I mean? It's really
Right.
weird. His
Yeah.
desire around the league is so high that it's making it so he can't consistently stay on a roster. It's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
But I love that dude. I got a special place in my heart. 2K20, we had a league, online league with like 12 people.
Really?
I had him. Yeah, he was a 3-time NBA Finals MVP for me.
Nice.
That guy's a dog. It was
Then he
crazy.
turned 25, isn't that your rule? And you got rid of him.
I was doing 28 in that league.
Oh, okay.
28 years old.
I pay attention to what you
Once
say.
you hit 28 on my team, you're gone.
Respect.
You know, all about moving product, Tom. No matter where it is, how much, moving product. You know who moves product in the opposite direction? Victor Wembanyama.
though. Oof.
We are 76 games into his NBA career, and he already has more blocks than 86% of the league history. He's got 235 blocks in his rookie year, and we haven't even
Living
completed
up to
it.
the hype.
Well, yeah, when you got the body build of an inflatable blow up doll
Bull.
outside of a used car
point. He
dealership,
doesn't know
yeah, you
that.
should have that many blocks. You know,
I agree with you. You should tell Bull the same thing.
I
Because that guy sucks, and he shouldn't.
Bobo just isn't coachable. That's good. Like we've
I
seen,
agree. I
we've
think so,
seen
too.
all of the tangibles. You know what I mean? Like all of the things are there. He just
doesn't have the work ethic.
I
yeah.
agree.
There's something that isn't clicking because we've seen flashes of it in the NBA,
Right.
where he can do everything that Wemby is doing. I would even argue better at this point. And like I would say that I've seen clips of Bol shooting better than
He's a
Wemby
more
at this point.
consistent
You know
shooter
what I
than
mean?
Wemby,
Like
yeah.
athletically, I would say he looks a little bit more put together than Wemby at this point.
I think
And
he
they're
might be a
very
little
comparable, other than Wemby's younger and coachable. It seems like.
Well, and
And
again, this was a perfect
incredible.
situation for Wemby to go to the Spurs and be
yeah.
under Greg Popovich, and this is just awesome. Great for Wemby. My
Unexposed by college.
I-
That's college ruined Bol. That's what it is. The college life ruined Bol.
Taco Fall too.
There it
Yeah.
is.
I just feel like his teammates need to get him the ball even more.
Yeah, I was just thinking
There's
that.
just so many highlights of them where he's just open, and they're just like, nope, my time to shine.
Yeah, I do. What I really have enjoyed seeing is all the guys on fast breaks not go up with the ball because they know
Yeah.
they know Wemby's right behind him. Have you seen those?
No.
There was this. I wish I remember the team they were playing, but one guy came down on a fast break and I keep saying Bol. Wemby was right behind him, and he
Just like, nope.
decided not to go up for it, and he turned to run like mid-range to the corner, and he passed it to somebody else who was also cutting, and then Wemby was still there, so then that guy went the opposite corner with the ball and then passed it out
Yeah, the
again.
only
They
other
both were like, nah, we're good.
Only other time I've kind of seen that, and it was a little bit different, was obviously LeBron James's chase down, where again it's like all of a sudden people are like, "Oh crap, is LeBron behind me?" I mean, he in his rookie year is getting compared to LeBron.
That's the one thing about like LeBron's chase down ability is it's way better than it should be. Like, and he loves getting chased down blocks, and he will.
He just times it so well.
Yeah, his timing is impeccable. He will reach the peak of the ball at his highest jump. Right before that ball's coming down, he's smacking it, and it's crazy to see him do it because he's 6'7". Like,
dude, it's almost like I swear he has this extra gear. It's the only time that he full sprints on the court is
yeah.
when he sees it. It's the rest of the time it's this 70-85% sprint, even when he's moving at the 100% around the court. Pin block opportunity.
Yep.
Pedal to the metal, empty the gas tank, release the nitrous. He's going 100
We're gonna call a
miles an hour.
timeout after this.
Do you remember that clip? I remember like watching LeBron's reaction to watching the clip. There was a guy that did like a LeBron impression like very well. And he made this clip of like he was, at the gym just, shooting, and this one guy kept pinning him. and guy went to go get a glass of water, sees him going over there, sneaks back to the rim and tries to throw it up, and the guy comes back, where'd he come from? He was over there. You guys saw him? He was just down on the ground. And LeBron's dying laughing at. I'll pull it up for us after.
I think what I like about it is like it reminds me of like legitimately like, and people are gonna say I need to hop off, but like it's like a predator playing with its food. Like when he's chasing somebody down, he will sprint and then match their speed and slow down and just run with them and stare at them and wait for them to go up with it, and then he just goes, nah. Like it's just I've never seen somebody dominates in that way before. I don't know, it's incredible. It's
just crazy.
But anyways, back to
39.
Yeah, and he's 39, still getting chased.
But yeah,
down.
back to Wemby.
The future's here, old man. It's really what it is. I mean,
yeah.
This is the first prospect we've had since LeBron to be as good as
what they're
we
hyped
said
up
he was
to,
going to be. Like
they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's
and without him a fuck.
There's a good argument for this guy to be Defensive Player of the Year
in his rookie year,
and I'm not saying that just because of stat.
No, there are things online.
Yeah,
and
like
the stats. That's the thing, and that's why I hate sometimes because stats don't fully encapsulate what he does. Because, like you said, people don't want to go in there, and of course, the stat without a block doesn't show that. That's why the eyeball test is so important because when you literally watch a Spurs game, you just see the whole entire offense be like, "Oh crap!" The NBA is all about threes and dunks right now. Well, guess what? We can't go dunk. We're just shooting threes tonight, guys.
And 2 of those blocks were against Jokic in that game last week. Like, he got 2 blocks on Jokic, and even Jokic was like, dude, like,
yeah,
he was annoyed.
And he's only going to get better, and he's only going to get stronger. I mean, my goodness.
That's the thing. If he can stay healthy, he's got to stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Like I said, he's got to link up with Giannis and be like, hey, I want to weightlift with you. I saw your rookie picture, Giannis. Yep. I want to be like you. I want to be my 3rd year just absolutely jacked.
And that's the thing. Like you can't. He can't go. It would be a negative for him, in my opinion, if he tried to get a hold of LeBron and was like, hey, let me get the workout plan.
Well, because international players, let's stick together.
Well, not even that, because LeBron is a long 6'8", but he's 6'8". Like Giannis is a long 7 foot. So somebody like Wemby, who's a long 7'4", every centimeter of 7'4", I feel like his body structure would benefit more from what somebody like Giannis is doing, who relies more on the length of his limbs than the size of his body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You spend a lot of time checking out other dudes' bodies. Oh, yeah. That's what it sounds like to me, Mikey.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, just crazy. It is crazy.
Mike is going everywhere.
Yeah, brother.
Joe's got no clue what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah, he's got 0 clue.
Trailer Park Boys or something?
Yes, let's go with that. Let's go with that. Actually, that might be the clip for the episode. I might throw that right at the beginning.
He kind of does look like Bubbles.
I could see it a little bit, but it's just no. It's not. It's just not.
Oh, dude, is this that streaming guy?
There
yes, it is,
go.
brother.
Did you see he was playing with all the Texans the other day?
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Hey, talk about the Texans.
My favorite part was when he took the picture with C.J. Stroud, because he always has a C.J. Stroud jersey on whenever you see him.
And
but then he had a Tank Bell shirt on. I was like, oh, come on, Sketch.
He didn't have it on. I don't think he was prepared to go play with them when he was out there. He's from Texas, so he wasn't at home.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was at home and got the call to go meet up with those guys. He must have been hanging out with some other streamer, and they...
Well, aren't they all in Texas?
They were on UCLA's field.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, it was on the UCLA field.
Okay, I didn't see where it was. I saw the pictures. Uh-huh. I saw a huge collage of a lot of them, and then I saw him drop a ball.
Oh, yeah.
On that route that whoever was guarding him, I forgot, but he broke him.
It was CJ.
Was it CJ?
It was CJ Stroud. I mean, he didn't break him. He just he ran a straight.
He just
slant.
ran away from him.
He just ran a straight slant away from him.
And then he dropped it.
Good times.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
One man army, Kim Jong-un.
Speaking of the Texans,
do you know who his favorite player in the NFL is?
No.
It's the guy with the highest KD. It's not for his on the field stuff.
Oh, yeah. The kicker.
No.
Oh,
what?
KD.
Yeah, it's his highest KD in the NFL. It's not about his on the field stuff, Joe.
Kill-death ratio? Oh, Aaron Hernandez?
Hey, we got there.
Yikes.
We got there. Anyways, that's all the time we have for this week's Talkin' Athletics. As always,
Thank
I'm your
God.
host, Mike Papa. That's Joseph. That's Tom. Do we want your last name in there? You want me to do that again? I didn't think about that. We'll do it again. All right.
I can edit it out there too. I'll edit everybody's last name.
I got
out
like
there.
halfway through.
Censored.
I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if we want that."
I'll edit it and I'll put for classified purposes. Edited for classified purposes. Done.
That's true. Wait, can I? Oh, I was gonna say we should put like a redacted over my mouth sticker and then have it beep when I.
I can try to figure out how to blur it.
I didn't finish it anyway, so it wouldn't matter. All right, welcome to Talking Athletic. God damn it! Welcome, brother. To Talking Athletics. All right, that's all the time we have for this week's Talking Athletics. I'm your host, Mike Papa. That's Joe. That's Tom. That's all the time we have for this week. We're just three guys talking to you from a basement. Hopefully you're watching, maybe from a basement. I just want you to be watching it all.
True.
Comment, like, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell the people you hate, tell your next door neighbor. We'll see you next week.